Okay, so welcome back everyone to this second session of BA Essentials Part 2. We have completed some of the courses yesterday, and that is in chapter 7 and 8 in the video. So if you have not seen that before, you go ahead and watch that before so that this makes sense to you. So today we will continue the requirement gathering processes. We will discuss pros and cons of some of the techniques, not all of them, some of the main techniques that we have studied before yesterday, how and what technique we should be using when it comes to the requirement gathering. So today we are going ahead and reviewing some of them and see what is the benefits, like what is the advantages and what are the disadvantages we may face if we select these processes, the techniques. Number one is interview. So interview, what are the benefits? The benefits, like, this gives you opportunity to talk freely because you're facing someone, virtual or face-to-face. This is like one-to-one meeting. So this gives you a lot of opportunity so that you can ask freely the questions. You can be really open with the questions. And even the interviewee who is giving you interview and giving you the answers, they may also feel free to talk and comfortable, it's like one-to-one discussion. And this will give you a chance to ask probing questions, as in you ask something and the interviewer is answering you something, then you get a chance then and there to ask another questions to like deep down the information. Like it's like probing question. You have some queries and you have some concerns, but you can ask them then and there and you can clarify that. So that is one of the benefits. And obviously you can always reword and adapt new questions during the interviews. It is pretty easy because you're facing someone working one-to-one. So you have chances to reword your questions and adapt the questions, and you can go ahead with that. And the main benefit is you can also observe the non-verbal communications. Non-verbal communication is very important. It actually adds a lot of value to the verbal communications. When people talk to you, you can observe their body language, their face expressions. All those things add a lot of things to the verbal communication. So in interview, either virtual or face-to-face, you have these benefits in the interviews. So these were the advantages. Now, what are the disadvantages? There are a lot of disadvantages as well with the interview process. This might be a time consuming, therefore it is costly. Time equals money. Everyone knows that. So this might be really a time consuming. So this is going to cost you a lot and you may have to travel. There are a lot of factors also involved here that might take a lot of time for you to face someone and ask questions. Now, again, how successful the interview is going to be, how successfully you will be capturing the information, that completely depends upon your skill set, the soft skills. What does it mean? It means you should know how to make the most out of those meetings. If you don't have those skills, you may not be able to like use the time and ask the right questions, probing questions, and get a lot of information. So somebody who is like, who does not have these soft skills really high, like interpersonal skills, you have not faced the interviews before, probably this is going to be really tough or difficult at certain time for you, because you are going to talk to someone who is like kind of a subject matter expert and who is providing you the information. Now, if you don't know how to ask the right question, what to ask, you have not done your homework before, this might be a little complicated for you. So, I mean, again, this experience comes as long as you grow and learn and you face people. In every interview, you will see you're improving. So this will take some time, but you can improve definitely, and you have to improve. And sometimes, the interviewing process is impractical because of the different locations and availability, willingness of the interviewees. It means probably you are sitting at one location and you're someone who is at a different location. So it is practically not possible for you to fly there or travel there, by road or by air and talk to the person. Sometimes it is a little difficult. Even though if that is possible, the other person may not be available for you. The person may have like other important stuffs to do, so the person may not give you the time. So that also is one of the constraints. And if everything is okay, but the person is not willing to talk to you with any XYZ reasons, that is again going to be a problem for you. So these are the disadvantages. Now, we were talking yesterday on what basis we should be deciding which technique I should use. So that again completely depends upon the situation. I'm just repeating upon the tenure of the work that you have been doing and your homework, and you will decide, okay, for this person, either interview is going to work or any other method is going to work, and you will use that method to collect the information from him or from her. Second, questionnaire and surveys. We use questionnaires and surveys when we have a large group of the people spread in different locations. If the people are not sitting at one location, we cannot go ahead with other things. The only best option is to go for the questionnaire. So what are the pros? What are the benefits of doing this, using this technique? This is quite easy, quick, and inexpensive, because you don't have to travel, you don't have to call people at one place, and you don't really have to interact face to face. This is just like some questionnaire. You will write the questionnaires, the right questions, and you will send them through some digital media, through email or through any of the other medias, and people will respond to you. So this is inexpensive. It's not going to cost you more. And you can reach out to the large group of people, as we just said. And it also gives those people enough time to find out good answers for you. They don't have to respond quickly like it happens in the interview. If you both are sitting together, if you're asking some questions in interview, the person has to answer you at the same time. However, the person may ask you that he or she may come back to you later on with any one of the answers or questions. But in surveys, this gives them really a good time so that they can frame their answers, they find the good and correct answers for you, and they can respond it to you. So this is one of the benefits. You will get the good answers from them. And this can be done anonymously. You can send the same questionnaire to 500 different group of people, and they all can respond to you one-to-one anonymously, and no one knows who is sending you what. So these are the benefits. Now, what are the disadvantages of doing questionnaire and surveys? Not everyone is going to respond, number one, and even not everyone is going to respond you completely. You may have 10 questions, sent 500 people. You might see only 100 people responding to you. Even in 100 people, you might see 50 people have not responded you completely. They did not answer all the questions. So these are pretty common disadvantages of the surveys. Even in our personal lives, we might have seen, we get some of the surveys from sometimes Walmart, sometimes other XYZ companies, and we tend to ignore them, number one. Even if we decide to answer, we do not answer all the questions. We see, okay, these 5 questions are pretty easy, I can answer, and the remaining let me ignore. So this is a common issues you will face during questionnaires and surveys. And if someone is not giving you clear answer, the answer is not clear, it is vague. In the questionnaire, you do not have the opportunity to ask probing questions and clear your doubts. This is one of the disadvantages. And obviously, this is not going to be really easy for you to prepare a good questionnaire. Sometimes it is tough. And you cannot observe the person's body languages, the non-verbal communication at the same time, like you do when you meet people face to face. When they talk, you can observe their body languages and everything that we just discussed. But in questionnaire and surveys, you don't have that opportunity. You cannot leverage this benefit there. So these are some of the disadvantages. Now, again, you decide what is going to work for you based on the situation and based on the group of the people. Next is observation. Okay, before I talk observation, do you have any questions from the previous two techniques?
No.
It's pretty clear, right? Yeah, good. The observation is see, first thing, what is observation? We studied before in this class yesterday. Observation is nothing but to shadow someone. Someone is working and you're sitting with them, or him or her, and you're watching what the person is doing, and you're observing and collecting the information and getting your requirements from them. So this is highly reliable because you see someone actually doing things in front of you. So you know what needs to be done and what the person is expecting from this project or from this product. This is one of the best, I would say, the most successful way of capturing the requirement. So you may have chance to capture a lot of things that you may not capture in different ways. Like when you talk to people, when you send them the questionnaires, you do all other stuff, there's something will be hidden for sure. That is, you can benefit in when you're actually observing and looking at the people and shadowing them and seeing what they're doing. So you can also find those answers, those unasked questions answers that you cannot do in other things, because you're looking at something happening in front of you. So it's pretty easy for you. And obviously you can observe the complex tasks that you cannot write in questionnaire, you cannot ask, you may not be able to ask in the interviews. But when you see someone doing something, probably they may be doing a lot of complex tasks that you would want to add in your requirement, that is going to be really helpful for you. So these are some of the benefits. And obviously this is inexpensive because you're sitting with them and just observing. It may incur some of the cost if you're at a different locations and you're traveling. Apart from those, you're not gonna have a lot of expenses in this technique. This is pretty easy. But it may also have some of the disadvantages that you may not actually ignore, you have to face. Number one, if someone is watching what you're doing, you might not feel comfortable doing things. It's a human nature. If I'm doing something and someone is sitting at just behind me or besides me looking at me what I'm doing, I may not feel comfortable. So what will happen the moment I start feeling uncomfortable, I'll start hiding a lot of things from you. So you may not be able to observe everything that you actually needed to see, because purposefully I will not do all those things because I know I'm feeling shy. Probably I'm not good doing something. So I would not do that particular item or action in front of you because I know you're watching me and you're shadowing me, looking at me. So you will miss those things. So people may, purposefully will not show you something that you wanted to see, right? So this is, kind of one of the disadvantages. That this is a major disadvantage you will always face. And there are certain things you would like to see in certain order. While observing people, this might not be possible for you because I may not do the way you wanted to see. I might be doing my job the way I prefer doing it. So maybe I can do task 1 first and then task 25 second and then so on. You said I can just randomly pick those items and I can work. You will still see me doing, but you may not be easily connecting all the dots. This might be a little confusing for you. What is happening here, man? Because you will not say in the correct orders. And this is human nature. Everybody feels comfortable the way they want it to work. So they will not work the way you want it to see. So this could be one of the problems for you. Now, again, how do you deal with these problems? Not only in observation, in any other techniques. It all depends upon your skill sets, your experience, your communication skills, and how much experience do you have dealing with these situations before. Obviously, if you do something for the first time, this will be a little difficult for you, but you keep doing the same thing, it's going to be really easy for you. So at times, the moment you start doing all these techniques, you will immediately get to know what is happening and what you have to take action, like a corrective action. So this comes naturally to you with some experience. So don't worry, but these are some of the known disadvantages that you should know and you should be aware of. Workshops and focus group. This also has some of the advantages and some of the disadvantages. So let us review the advantages first. It saves time and cost. And what is the reason? Why is it saving time and cost? Because we are calling all those folks at one common location in one room that we call war room. Everybody is sitting together and we can discuss a lot of things in the same time. So this is going to save you a lot of cost and time. People will be really actively discussing, because if you have 5, 6 or more than a good number of people sitting together and talking to you, they will talk actively. Everybody will be talking something and the other person will get the ideas, the information, and then they'll also start talking, contributing. So you will see people talking actively. And we all can take decisions then and there because everybody's there. We have a lot of things to discuss. We're talking, we're reviewing, we're asking probing questions. Everybody is sharing their insights, their ideas. This is actually really easy for you to take some decisions that is agreed by everyone, that we call a mutual understanding. Everybody is agreeing on something, and then we are taking some decisions. Now, we studied before in the class yesterday, how do we come to this decision point where there's a conflict? There's certain the techniques that we can use to get some decisions. And what are those? If you have not seen the video, go back and watch the previous video, and I have discussed them in detail. Now, you will get immediate feedback. Obviously, everybody is talking at the same time, same meeting. If you have any questions, you can immediately ask, and you can get the feedback immediately. So these are some of the benefits. Some disadvantages. Difficult to schedule. Why? Because you are going to call a lot of people together at the same time in the same meeting. And practically, this might not always be possible that everybody is available at the same time. They all may have different schedules. Their calendars may be busy. They may not be able to give you time. Some may have traveling constraints, some may have time constraints, some may have any other commitments. Sometimes it is not really possible to bring all people at one place at the same time and to discuss. So sometimes it is difficult. And as I have been telling you, really need to be a good moderator in order for a successful completion of these sessions. Why I'm saying in such meetings, a group of people may come from a different labels, different teams, different LOBs. You may see people coming from the management, you may people coming from the core technical background, people from the business. They all may be asking you different questions, and you have to be really a good moderator to make sure you're facilitating things really in a good way, so that everyone feels comfortable sitting together and talking, even though they're coming from the different backgrounds. But just because you have created an environment where they're feeling comfortable talking and sharing your information, this will be easy for you. But again, this I will take this as a disadvantage, because it's not always possible for you to create those environments. It's practically not possible. But yeah, this is one of the key skills, your job that you have to do. So you have to learn things and practice and grow. Now, data collected, yeah, obviously, data collected, what people will say probably will not actually they be doing the same thing. I do something else, but I talk something else. This happens when I'm going to the sessions where I have to like 5 or 10 or more than like 50 people. I don't, let me not comment on the numbers. It could be like good, decent number of the people are sitting there. I may try to really be a decent and talk really good and give you great information. But however, in my real world, I may not be doing all those things. So this is pretty common, So the data you're collecting from the people probably may not be consistent, because that person will not be actually doing all those things in the real life. Sometimes it is difficult. Now, how do you identify? Again, this comes with the experience and your preparations and your analysis of the data that you have collected. And then you will gradually know, okay, this information is something I don't want, and this is something I would need. And do I need a new meeting or something? All those things, So these are some of the difficulties you might face when you're doing focus groups and workshop. The one point that I did not write here in the difficulties is pretty common. Not everybody feel comfortable talking. What does it mean? It means you may call 100 people in one group, but you might see only 2 or 3 or 5 of them are talking, and remaining are sitting idle and just listening to them, and they do not participate. There could be many reasons behind that. As a moderator, as a facilitator, this is your responsibility to make certain people are talking. How do you talk? So what I recommend normally to the newbie is, when you have these sessions, number one, you should have a clear agenda of the meeting. And then you should know whom you're going to invite. You don't want to invite everybody in the meeting that you don't want them. And you don't want to miss people that you really want to be part of those meetings. So you have to decide all those things. So decide who your audience will be, and set a clear agenda so that people are aware what you're going to talk to them tomorrow or in the meeting, so that they should be ready and available with the answers, right? And when you go to the meeting, like, try to dress professionally, try to have a smile, eye contact, show some confidence. Even though if you're not confident, if you're shy, if feeling really scary, don't worry. It's a human nature. This happens with everyone. But you have to Show at least you're confident. Again, how does it come to you? It comes with the experience naturally. When you go and take the first session, you will feel a little shy, little scared. But as long as you grow, you take more meetings, you will be more confident. And then before you actually start talking, the main thing, you have to have something that people feel connected with you, like maybe a small quick games, some icebreaker games, so that you see all people are talking. You can start with like, any fun fact. Okay, just tell me your name and give me any of the fun facts, like you love to eat chocolates, or anything, something fun fact for them. So this will actually give you opportunity for people to speak, talk, and feel connected with you. They will not see you as an alien. They will not see this like as a waste of time. So have something there so that people start talking to you, connect with you, start feeling comfortable talking to you. So have like some ice-breaking games. Now, if you don't know what is this ice-breaking games, go and do a Google search, icebreaker games. And this will give you a lot of, the good games that you can play with those such kind of people where you don't know them, and people actually feel comfortable talking to you. So these are some of the ideas I can give you on the behind that you can do as a BA when you're actually going ahead and doing these sessions, workshops, and focus groups. These are very important. Any questions or any doubts, any concerns, anyone?
Are the focus group the same as JAD sessions? Focus group and JAD session same?
JAD session could be one of the example of focus group. JAD is like joint application development. So even in that, you bring all people from different backgrounds, all required needed people at one place, and you all discuss at the same time, and you take some decisions and fix some problems. So yes, JAD could be one of the good example for workshop and focus group. Workshop is nothing but like bringing a lot of people together. A lot of people, as in a lot of all the folks that you need to be part of those meetings. So yes, that could be one of the examples. So even there, these problems will be there. Let's say you're facing someone new, 50 people new, you don't know them, they don't know you. This will be like really awkward and weird, isn't it? It will. So this is your responsibility to make certain you're creating such environment where people can feel free and talk to you. And how do you start? I would recommend you start with like good smile, hello, hi, talk about some weather, talk about some games that you might have seen before, any happening topics, avoid politics, avoid any personal discussions, which you should not be doing. Like start with a joke, any good news, anything that at least you feel see people talking. If you have like a soccer game, start talking about the soccer game in the initials, and wow, what a game it was, awesome, that guy really did well. What will happen? People will take you as a friend. They will say, okay, this guy is like cool and he's going to talk like freely. So they will also feel free. Start with, okay, can you give me your name and any one fun fact about you I just told you, or anything that works for you. And then you actually go ahead and start working on your actual agenda. You have to be really a good facilitator because people tend to deviate from the discussions. You have to stop them. You should learn how to stop them professionally. You don't want to cut them off. If someone is talking, you don't want to cut them off. It is unprofessional way, but you should also learn professionally how you should stop them talking, which is not as per the agenda. So what normally I prefer is I go ahead and write the agendas on the board. Like after doing all those ice-breaking games, I write the agenda on the board so that people can read and see, okay, these are the agenda, they will not deviate. Even I'm doing a virtual meeting, I have one common page, like you see it right now on my screen. I have agenda written somewhere so that they read it. It reminds them what is the agenda so they do not deviate. So these all are the skills that you will learn gradually. This will not come to you in a day one. And if someone is talking something and you don't want to stop them, but you have to stop them, there are different ways of doing all those things. Just stop them and tell them, okay, you know what, it's a really great point. I really learned a lot, but it really needs, a good sufficient time to discuss, and this will not be justifying, and we will not respect this discussion right now if you try to close it now. Let me have a separate session for you guys to discuss this point specifically. So I'm going to set up one more meeting, and you guys let me know who would like to be part of those discussions. Let's have a separate session and discuss in detail. So this sounds professionally, so people will know that you have stopped them, but they will also not feel bad because you're not being rude. So a lot of these are the soft skills. you will learn and you will develop and grow gradually. So this is very important. I'm taking some time here because I have seen the newbies, newbies, I call it newbies, they face a lot of problems. Even my personal job journey, I had one BA recently joined, and I asked him, go and take this session. That guy was like shaking, literally. I cannot face like those group big people. So I went there, I stood with him and asked him, okay, you take care of that, and I'm going to back you off. This happens. This is natural. This was happening to me as well when I started initially. But you have to overcome that fear, learn, grow, practice, and then you will definitely be doing things in a proper and good way. The good part here is, just to give you some confidence, you will not always be doing these workshops. Trust me, you will not. Probably throughout your career, you will have like just 1 or 2 workshops. That depends what kind of work you have got. If it is just got one simple functional requirement change, why would you do this workshop and killing everyone's time? No, you'll simply write one simple document, like 3, 4, 5 pages document, whatever your company is following, and you can just simply work there. You can just simply pick a phone and call and set up a meeting and call and close the thing. That's all done. So don't worry about that. But since you are going to work as a BA, you might be doing these sessions as well, but that depends. All right, so any questions before I move ahead?
No.
Anyone else? Any concerns, anything that you would like to discuss here, we can discuss. Cool. So if no, then let's move. Sample question: what is the purpose of requirement gathering? To identify stakeholders, to develop a project schedule, to identify project risks, to understand and document what the system or product needs to be. What is your answer?
D. D.
Everyone says D, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see the answer. Correct. You guys are doing a good job. Thank you. Which of the following is a limitation of requirement gathering? What option? Tell me.
D.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, let me see the answer. D, correct. When I'm saying requirement gathering, this may include all those techniques, and all techniques have some limitations, So for some of the techniques, this may be a time consuming. For some of them, it could be expensive, and obviously stakeholders may not fully understand their own needs. So answer is all of the above. This could be some of the challenges, or limitations for the requirement gathering. All right, so this session is completed. Now tips, as I always prefer giving you guys, you have to be really very concise and clear when you talk. When you're answering the question, you have to be focused on the answers. Do not deviate, give them the exact answer. Do not talk more, do not talk less, so only answer what is needed and required. Sometimes we try to answer a lot of things, and then we actually giving them opportunity to ask you the cross questions, and we get framed. So don't worry. Don't try to give too much information. Give only what was asked, nothing else. And you don't have to give the long, complex, loaded answers. This is really a good it's a bad thing. Even though if you're answering and if you're asking the question, either way, don't do this. And always try to record the interviews, either audio or video. This will be really helpful for you. And there are some of the states they have some, the laws, you cannot record unless you ask the permission. So try to practice, ask them the permission. Should I go ahead and record this session, like audio or video? If they say yes, then you should go ahead and do this. Without asking, don't do this one. It's against the law in some of the states here. And obviously you have to recognize the topic of the questions and then dismiss unrelated information. There could be a lot of questions, a lot of things being asked and told you. So you have to find out what is making sense for you and take it forward, and then remaining you can just ignore. You don't have to be like tricked with those wordy questions. And As I always tell you, interviewer way is the 100% correct way of giving the answers. So answer the way they wanted to hear. And you need to learn from the mistake. Then you keep practicing, keep repeating, and keep improving. Common terms that you will be learning will be helpful for you always, that we know already. Okay, what next? This is the same thing I have spoken with you before, and I've explained you in detail in the previous videos. Whoever is watching on YouTube, you can go back and watch the previous videos. You have the discussions in detail. Thank you very much, all of you, for your time today for this meeting. Before I let you go back to your work, any other questions you may have at the last moment?
No, thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much for your time. Bye. Take care.